So recently, my sister-in-law was looking to start her first real corporate job in accounting, and she was concerned about how to make a good first impression and basically how to be successful. Before she even got it, she wanted help in understanding how to handle some common interview questions. So I thought, why not convey some of those things that I told her to all of you. The audience of this very small channel skews very young and very male. According to the analytics from YouTube, it's 18 to 35 and mostly male. That's so most of you. So if I think about the 18 to 25s year old men in the channel, but this also works for this advice works for anyone, any gender, going into any field really. I wanted to start this to help all of you in your interviews. So a common question that people often get when they're interviewing, the interviewer will ask, "Tell me about yourself." Now there are a bunch of videos for this question on YouTube by people much better at this than I am, that have been doing interviews a lot longer. I've been doing some interviews now at my current job and have referred folks and have helped folks get placed. I do a lot of resume reviews and interview prep and these things. I just like helping people get over the hump, if you will. So all that being said, there are plenty of other videos you could watch on this. I just wanted to give you my 2 cents. So someone you're interviewing and your interviewer asks, "Tell me about yourself." And this question is a trick question in the sense it's not the face value question that you are being asked. Very, very rarely is the person really asking, "What are your hobbies? What do you like doing? Who are you? What do you do outside of work?" That's something that might be asked in a social setting, at a mixer, but it's not what they're actually asking for when they ask this. What they're asking is, who are you in the sense of what are your skills and why are you qualified for this role? So if the role, I am a data engineer, for example, so if the role is, maybe a junior data engineering role, you might say, "Hi, my name is Alex. I just got out of university, top university, studying information systems. I'm very passionate about data engineering. I really love Data Engineering Corp and everything you stand for. The reason that I feel like I'm qualified for this is I have done, outside of my studies, I have built pipelines, I'm a contributor to Airflow, and I have created training videos on GitFlow and studied all of the foremost databases in the field, and I have such and such qualifications and certifications when it comes to cloud providers. I'm cloud certified in GCP, for example." Boom. I mean, that's not the most polished answer, but that gets to the point. The point is, they want to know who you are, what is your background, and why are you qualified for this role. As an interviewer, I like to make every interview different, tailored, different in the sense it's tailored for the person. So I often qualify what or how I'm asking questions based on how nervous the person is or how senior they are. If, for example, if they're just coming into the field and maybe they were a teacher before and now they're in tech, I will be very mindful of my jargon. I will try and use plain language. So the point is, I need to know what questions to ask and how to ask them going forward. And so if you tell me who you are and what you've done and why you think you're qualified for the role, that helps me and it helps you. So keep that in mind. The last thing I wanted to convey is for the folks going into their first role at a job out of college, their very first real professional corporate job. This is as much a showcase for you as it is for the employer, right? This is your opportunity to really start your network. This is where you start your reputation. Reputation is so important. So there is a lot riding on your shoulders. You might just be happy to have a job. My first job out of college, I was making 60 grand a year to basically warm a seat because not a lot was asked of me. I was a junior database administrator, but not a lot was asked of me on paper. But the unwritten thing was, you're junior now, you want to be senior in the future, you have a lot to learn and a long way to go. How are you going to get there? There was probably 100 years between the engineers on the team worth of database knowledge and experience that I let languish because I just twiddled my thumbs for about 3 years. And I did worse than that. I thought, woe is me. I have this boring job. I'm just babysitting databases. That's not fun. Until it clicked and I was like, hey, how can I automate my job? How can I learn a little bit more? I'm not getting tasks and things, I'm not being asked to do things because I don't have the skills. So how do I get the skills? I ask my colleagues, hey, how do I do this? Can I shadow you on this? Can I do this? Can you help me learn this? What can I do next? That opens a whole lot of doors. First, it makes your job a little less boring. It helps you learn. It's good for the resume. It's good for the skills. Like if you are really invested in this role, you should be investing in yourself by learning as much as you can. Be a sponge. Ted Lasso tells his football players, soccer players, to not sweat the small stuff when they make a mistake. Have the mind of a goldfish, he says. Well, be a sponge. Learn as much as you can. Be wholly invested in learning as much as you can. Because if nothing else, the industry changes. So you have to constantly be learning and growing to be useful. So, first thing, be a sponge. Ask questions. Be curious. That leads into the next part with being reliable and creating your reputation. One of the things I did well in that first role was I worked really, really hard at what I was supposed to be doing, and I gained a reputation of being reliable. I worked the nights and weekends that I was asked to. We did after-hours deployments of our code. So all of the database objects that corresponded to the front-end objects had to be deployed in tandem. So there was a back-end deployer, that was me, and a front-end, and we, from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., every third Friday, we would do these deployments. And during the week, in those first 3 weeks or so of the month, we were doing testing, and I was always there helping do those deployments, and I was reliable. So I got that reputation of being reliable. That opened a lot of doors. So when I was thinking about leaving or going elsewhere, someone had the idea to say, no, we can't have this reliable, hardworking person leave. Let's try and help him find another role, another place to work within the company. It opened a ton of doors. So be a sponge, be reliable, build your reputation of being a good, competent worker. And that's the second piece of advice. And the third is look for mentors. So I became quite close to a handful of engineers, and actually upper management at this company that I used to work at. And I consider them friends. They became mentors. They really advocated for me. And all I had to do was ask. It was easy for them to do, I think, because I had created a reputation of being someone that they could vouch for, that they could help. But anytime I asked questions or I wanted to know more, I wanted to talk about career development, my manager, who became my mentor, helped me with that. I found that immediately rewarding. And it's also a no-brainer, but maybe you haven't thought of this, but find someone in this role, in a position that is at a place where you want to be. So if you want to be VP of engineering, befriend the person who's VP of engineering and take them to lunch, or just pick their brain on, hey, what did you do? How did you do this? How did you get there, etc. And then try and add these folks to your LinkedIn profile. I mean, your LinkedIn account. Add them to your network. Networking is not what people think it is. It's not transactional. It's not sleazy. It's not skeezy. It's literally being a friend. Any good friend is interested in the lives of their friends. So people that I consider my friends in my network, that are part of my, quote, professional network, I'm actually interested in their lives. So when it comes up, when it's their birthday or when something cool happens, whenever they get a new job, I am legitimately happy for them. I like to keep in touch and like to see what's going on. And I hope one day if they start a new company or they do something cool or they join a cool place, that they'll think of me, their friend, in their network. So so to recap, imagine you're starting a new job. You're just out of college or high school or whatever, and it's your first, real corporate gig, and you're not sure what to do. So do the basics. Figure out what your tasks are, what is asked of you, what the minimum requirements are, because those are the minimum requirements, and do them the best that you can. Just knock them out of the park. Then become a sponge. Just learn as much as you can. Learn. It might be an internship that's a year long or a month long or whatever. Get as much as you can learning out of it. Speaking of internships, do as many of them as you can. If you can do unpaid, maybe you live at home with your parents or whatever, try it. Doing real world internships and workplace jobs will influence what you actually study. You might think, this is not for me and I want to study something else. That's invaluable. College is quite expensive, so to get that perspective now is super valuable. So do the minimum, do it well, be a sponge, and then network. Make friends as best you can. Not everyone's an extrovert, but try and, as best you can, get out of your comfort zone and make at least one friend at the company. At least you'll have someone to eat lunch with, and at best you'll have someone that could grow into a mentor and help you. So those are the pieces of advice that I would like to convey. I hope this helps. And then lastly, with that, when you're interviewing, there's tons of questions when you're interviewing, but the big one, the one that might help you get the ball rolling, that tell me about yourself, isn't about what your favorite color is or your favorite food. It's who are you, why are you qualified for this role, and how can you help? All right, thanks for watching.